What's up, guys?
Oh, good morning. Good afternoon, wherever in the world. Suki, are you online or not? She's not online.
No, I
I'm
think
sorry.
that's out.
Apologise. Okay, welcome, Paul. We got Paul from New York. Today, I'm stepping in for Jack and Suki, doing a bit of a guest interviewer thing today for Paul. Thanks, Paul, for being here today.
You're welcome. How are you?
Oh, fan. Good day from Australia.
Yeah,
Down
good
under
day.
here. Have you been here yet?
No.
Oh,
Not even
you got to
close.
get you got to get down here. You'll absolutely love it. I haven't been to New York, so we've got a double thing there. But I'll get to
Yeah,
New York. We'll definitely when I
will
get there,
do.
Paul. We'll meet up and have a ride. It'll be amazing. So,
Cool.
Paul, tell me a little bit about your history of how you got into electric skateboarding and ECUs, unis they call them now, which is amazing invention product. And tell me a bit about how that started that journey.
So it happened. I mean, 4 years ago, everybody was watching YouTube. Obviously, Casey Neistat, the boosted board, and it just became something where I said, "Wow! I mean, I don't have to push anymore. If I can get one of these and spend the money." And actually, I knew I could do it. I've been on a board all my life, and I've been snowboarding, so physically I knew I could do it. It's just I just wanted to make that transition. So 2016, late 2016, I just got a cheap board from Electric Skateboard. It's a one single motor electric board, and got on it and got hooked right away. So
Wow.
pretty much after that, it was just full speed ahead. I just got a boosted board, Stealth, got into the groups in New York, started riding, got even more hooked. Every weekend I was in there riding. So yeah, I
Wow.
just got hooked, and
And
now I got
we're talking
yeah.
how long ago would that have been when you first got your single? Was it a hub motor or direct drive? Or was it a belt drive?
No, it's a belt.
Yeah.
It was a single belt. To late 2016, say
Wow.
around September.
And before
And,
that, had you ridden skateboards growing up and stuff in New York? Had you done
oh
all
yeah,
that sort of stuff?
oh
Yeah. So
yeah.
you're a
I mean,
skater.
you're talking to an old guy. My first skateboard had metal wheels on it, Andrew.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So and
That's it.
I grew up with Tony Hawk pretty much. Oh,
That's all right.
online. So pretty
Well,
much my
mm,
daughter comes.
you're on YouTube. What's your
No,
daughter's name?
that is Emily. She's my
Emily.
youngest.
Hey, Emily. Nice to meet you. G'day.
Nice
How
to
you
meet
doing?
you.
How you doing? How you doing there?
How you
I love it.
doing?
Um, so yeah, so we got the same. I'm 59. I'm a bit older than you, so I remember the clay wheels. I remember when Cadillac brought the first urethanes out. That changed the whole dynamics of everything, and we couldn't believe that transition went like crazy. So you've been skating all your life. You've been snowboarding, skiing, all that sort of stuff as well.
Started skateboarding and skiing pretty much at 8 years old, and then once I saw the snowboard, I was actually in Stratton, Vermont when I first saw the first snowboard come down, and I was like, "Why is that guy surfing on the snow? You're not allowed to do that." And then it was just I was hooked on that. And once I started getting into snowboarding, I think I was 21, 21 or 22 when I first snowboarded, and I never went
Wow.
back to skiing again. So yeah,
Jeez.
still an avid snowboarder every year. So love
Now,
it.
how do you compare? We'll just park the unis for a second. Talk about the skateboard still.
Sure.
How does it compare to snowboarding in terms of the first boards and now the double kingpins? That really carving feel. How does it compare? Because I've never snowboarded. I mean, I've done it once, but
Right.
I
Well,
slid down the mountain and got a
yeah.
numb, cold backside.
Well, as far as regular skateboarding, it's only similar because your stance is the same as snowboarding, but you're
Yeah,
pushing. So now introduce the electric skateboard, no more pushing. Now you're basically snowboarding on pavement. So to me, it's the same feel. I get the same high out of riding on pavement as I do on snow because you get that same loose feeling, that
yeah.
carve. So to me, and then you introduce the double kingpin, and even better with all-terrain wheels. It's just like snowboarding.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
insane. I agree. I'm a surfer of 47 years. I've been surfing in Sydney here. I've done Hawaii, North Shore, Rocky Point. I've done Indonesia. We call it Indo here. I've been to all these amazing locations. So surfing was my primary sport. So when I got into skateboarding, it was mainly in 72 was to surf while the surf was flat. So that's how I got into it. I never went back. I mean, I always primarily surfed and skated. So for me, it was like when I got on a double kingpin for the first time, and that was back in the Goldwing side one, and before Evolve got them, before anyone got them, an English guy invented. Yeah, I was riding the Sector 9 in 1996 down my street carving on this double kingpin and going, my God, this is insane. And so it was like that replicated surfing exactly. So for you're saying it's the same thing. Snowboarding is pretty similar. It's a pretty edge to edge.
It's definitely an edge to edge feel. I mean, obviously it's got its differences, but it has that same motion, and that motion, once you hit, a good carve on a board, as in snow. I mean, up here we have Northeast, it's all ice up here in the wintertime. If you get lucky, you get a decent snowstorm and you get a couple inches of snow underneath your feet. But that's what makes it different when you're snowboarding on ice. It's even more like skateboarding because you're digging in more. You're cutting more. You're not in that deep powder where you're getting restricted a little bit. You're just going.
Oh my gosh!
I have a good one on my YouTube. It's me with the GoPro bombing the hill for about.
I saw it. I saw that. I had it last night. And I'll do a shout out to your channel on my channel, because I think it's you're growing. You've got some great product and content there. And like, not everyone's got access to snowboards and stuff like that, and unicycles. We've got a great unicycle group here in Sydney with Alan and the guys from Kingston and the N6s. They've got some great machines here. I'm going to get one unboxed in a couple of weeks. I'm going to learn how to ride a unicycle. We'll talk about it now.
You should.
I'll get people directed to your channel. That's wonderful. I had a look. I couldn't believe that footage. That was really amazing, Paul. That was awesome. Really good. So when did you get into unis and unicycle? When did that come in the time frame, and how'd that work?
So, it happened when, every weekend you're going into the city and you're riding with a group and you see a unicycle, and then you see two unicycles, and they started just growing in a small amount. And, there's always that riff where we're making fun of the unicycles because it's not a skateboard. And, we always had that. But to me, it reminded me, and you probably, I don't know if you remember because you're in Australia, but you remember the snowboard situation where in the late 80s, everybody on a snowboard was a rebel, and they were frowned upon. You can't get off my mountain. You can't do that on the ski mountain. And that's what I see this unicycle turning into, the new revolution of the snowboard, where everybody on a electric skateboard is now starting to transition to a unicycle for a couple of reasons. Because it's honestly, to me, I think it's a little more safer if you ride it responsibly because of the tire. Especially in the New York and Five Boroughs area, where you have the roads are just horrible. But that tire alone will save you.
And the suspension, they're getting suspension in now. They're going upstairs, for crying out loud. Upstairs, like it's Circus Soleil stuff.
It's getting crazy. I mean, once that suspension starts really getting functional, I mean, it's a game changer.
Well, is the range? Has the range on what's the range on your machine?
So I have
what have you got? Tell us about your unicycle.
So I have a Gotway MSX, 100 volt. They make two. They make the 84 volt. They make the 100 volt. The 100 volt gets a little less range, but it's more speed. It's more torque. I get anywhere from, depending on how you ride and your weight, 30 to 35 miles easily. Miles.
That's crazy. I can see the skatey guys all just glazing over going, well, I can't even wish for that kind of range.
Yeah, well, that's what it kind of turned into in New York because, once you're on a group ride with over 20, 30, 40 people, the charging is limited.
That's right.
Everybody, once you're going to a charge spot, it's like the floodgates open up and the crowd just rushes to it. And the first ones, before it blows. Then you get
I think a few Evolve riders will be running there first. No, that ain't gonna huge range.
They definitely all kind of jam the outlets up. They blow the outlet, and then it's like, oh no, where do we go? We only have 10%. So it became something where it was a challenge to charge, and everybody was looking for more range. Me, I got the GTR, which helped, but it seemed to be the problem, and I think it's a problem out there with most, is that once you start draining the Evolve down to a very low percentage, it takes forever to charge back up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a problem because nobody wants to sit and charge for 3 hours. They want to ride.
I think the future is going to be fast chargers, twin ports. That's happening now. The ZIL board I've been trying to get a hands on, the new model is going to come this few months with twin chargers, 80% of battery charged in 25 minutes, which that's going to be a game changer for electric skateboards. That is the number one thing. Also, I think with the unicycles, you can go in the rain. They're pretty waterproof, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we rode in the rain. I got caught in the Bronx at a decent heavy rainstorm, and we just rode through it. It was not a problem. We got soaking wet, but the thing with the unicycle is the tire is just the only thing really getting wet.
That's right.
Yeah.
So doesn't the water spin up the back? Doesn't the water spin into in the underside? Is it all sealed under there, kind of thing?
So it's pretty much sealed. And the electronics, I'm gonna grab it for you just so I can show you.
Grab it. It'd be great.
Everything's pretty much wrapped up, sealed pretty tight, and it has a mud flap on it.
Take your time, grab it. Yeah. Guys, if you haven't ridden one, I'm going to try and ride one next couple of weeks. And look, this is going to be something you would have a show to go. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. Beautiful, Paul. Oh, wow.
Right. So back here, let me turn the light up a little bit.
And what's the price on that? Just roughly.
There you go. So these go from anywhere from $1,600 to about $2,700.
That's US dollars.
So pretty pricey. Yeah, pretty pricey. Wow. And then you got your different models anywhere from this is a 18-inch tire.
Wow.
And then they have the Monster, which Gotway makes, is a 22-inch tire, and that's the biggest one they make so far. But this guy here, you got a mud flap, you got a 3-inch tire.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Oh, look, gorgeous. That's a lot of grip on that. Yeah.
On a motorcycle rim, so it's pretty sturdy.
Jeez. What sort of maintenance is required for that, Paul? What do you need in terms of looking after it?
So far, no maintenance. That's the beauty. That's the beauty so far. No maintenance.
That's incredible. So tires, I mean, on a skateboard, they do wear out your wheels. You got to replace them and belts. So with that, the tires will wear eventually. But what are you looking at? I mean, how many miles, Paul? What would be?
Some guys have 1,000 miles on them, and I think they're going through tire changes at that rate.
Wow.
And to change a tire, it's a process. It's a process. We have a couple guys that are just starting up an actual shop right here in the Bronx. And Alex Davidson, aka Power Trip NYC, go on his website. You can check out some of his stuff. But he's actually very informative in repairs. So he's doing the repairs pretty much to anything. You got a scooter, you got an electric skateboard, you got a unicycle. He'll pretty much fix everything that he can.
Hey, we got Scott Davies on board. G'day, Scott.
From Australia.
Another YouTuber. Check out his channel. Scott wants to have a ride on one of these. He's like, I'm 95. I'm 92 now. I've lost some weight to 92 kilos. Scott's about 98 or whatever. How much do you weigh in this weight an issue with these things?
Pounds. I'm about 173, 174. And now don't forget, that's my actual weight, and now I'm wearing a backpack, say another 25 pounds. So, a 200-pound rider, I think there's a max of 250 or maybe even 260 for these things.
Oh, that's fine. That's about 130 kilos. That's way over anybody, unless you're an NFL football player or something.
And we have a few big boys that ride these, and they have no problem, and they go easily 35 miles an hour. Wow. Yeah,
that's amazing.
We did a couple of big trips on these. We did one to the beach, from Manhattan to the beach. Was a round trip, 100 miles ride we did.
100 miles, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, for a 53-year-old, but I'm revealing your age now. That is incredible. You and I are the world's oldest teenagers.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
just
tell
think
my wife. You know,
it's better than golf. No offense to the
yeah.
golfers out there, but tell your girlfriend, your wife's only gone at least 3 hours and you don't go to the golf club.
Now I do want to do. I just want to state, Andrew,
Oh, yeah.
the gear. Gotta wear your gear because
Now, what? Yeah, on that point, what do you got there? You got some pretty serious knee pads there. They're like
these are
Iron Man.
these are actually elbow shin pads.
Oh,
elbow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
that is We'll put a link below to those because they look pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're for them. You know, Amazon. So, find your gear. The thing that you want to look for is you want to look for the hard finish here. Anything with a soft finish is going to grab and suck you under and break something. So you want to basically fall and slide. You know, everybody knows that slide and roll.
That's a good point. I know the mountain bike guys. I know mate is the mountain bike rider. They all got the stuff that when it hits, it impacts and goes hard. What's okay for rocks and stuff and mountain biking, but when you're on concrete like a motorbike, you've got to be able to slide. You know, you got to wow.
Everybody knows, right? Flatland.
Yeah.
So the reason why these are so good is because of these guys right here.
You can slide on those.
You slide on those, and that's where you're getting most of your breaks is when you land on that wrist and you don't slide, and then you just get sucked in and you snap that wrist. So Flatland 3D, that's why these are so important. I swear by these. I have about 15 pairs of gloves, and they're all shredded up, and none of them really protect you the way they should. Those are the ones to get, the Flatlands.
That's incredible because being a surfer and a skateboarder, I for a while there when I just cruised locally, I just wear my bump Kevlar baseball cap. I got paid out a bit on that because obviously the safety issue and being an influencer on my channel that I wear something. I wear my helmet all the time, but I never really wear gloves because I don't really hit the ground much. I haven't fallen probably much in the last few years except for doing a couple of sharp turns a few weeks ago. But yeah, I get it because when you do hit the ground, when you get older, we don't, when I'm lucky, I haven't broken a bone in my body yet, touch wood. But yeah, you're right. You've got to be protected. This is so critical. If you're watching this, guys, anyone, you wear protection. This is, if you're learning and you're on any learning curve at all, you've got to make sure you wear, protective gear. Crazy, yeah. Let's talk about the transition then. From when you went into writing this, how did it change your life? Did it completely become a life-changing experience for you? And do you use it for commuting as well? That's a good question.
So I'll answer the first question first, the last question first, because I'm away from the city. I'm out in the suburbs. I have a car. I don't really commute my travel to my work or anything like that. I do go to the stores. I go to anything local. I'll take the unicycle or the skateboard. Lately I've been just unicycle, just for the hands-free. I mean, that's the changer right there. When you stop holding something in your hand and you're free like that, it makes a world of difference. You just feel like you're just floating, and there's no the weight distribution is the way you're riding, and that's the way I feel like it's just becomes part of your body, the unicycle. That's the changer. And I didn't know that before I wrote it. I just thought it was going to be more work. And once I started writing and I was adapted to it, it became so much more of a non-thinking transportation and just enjoyed it. It was really different than the skateboard.
You're right. We think we're just holding a remote in one hand on an electric skateboard, but as a content provider, filmmaker, I'm often got the selfie stick in that hand, and the amount of times you need to also adjust stuff. In fact, look, I'll just show the camera this. Have a check it out.
You weren't wearing
gloves on. I should have Flatlands that day. I was riding the Super 73 bike, doing this review of Super 73, and it had pedal assist. I was going past a woman who was actually blind. It was really sad. I was going past her. And didn't hit her. I went around her, but I touched the pedal and it just took off. And I had the selfie stick and the bike throttle, and I just had no choice but to just go crunch across the concrete. So you forget with the unicycle, you've got so much hands free. You can hold a Ronin pole, a stabilizer. We got guys in our group that provide some incredible content with these filmmaking Hollywood stuff that's so heavy that I couldn't even hold, let alone ride a unicycle on. Yeah, so there you go. You got your hands free, haven't you?
Well, Tashawn is the one who's really the filmmaker in this crew out here in New York City. I mean, Tashawn, he mastered it. He makes it look effortless, and his filmmaking is just incredible. So Tashawn is the start of all this, and that kind of, I'm a photographer also, and that's what kind of got me into like figuring out like how can I utilize the unicycle better. After watching Tashawn do what he did, I said I have to learn, because turning on a dime with the unicycle as opposed to stopping, picking the board up, moving it, putting it back down, grabbing the gear again, it's just cumbersome. This thing, it flows. So it definitely changed my life. Not only riding in the city is a game changer with the unicycle, but like I said, I'm out on Long Island, which is, like, for you guys that don't know, if you know, look what I did.
Oh, wow.
So look, here's the city, right here. And then I'm that little dot, which is about 50 miles away from the city.
Wow.
Right? And this is Long Island. It looks like an alligator, a Twin Forks out here. So that's New York, the whole state of New York. So I'm quite a distance from the city, yet I feel that I'm pretty committed. Every weekend I pretty much get in there. I do work in Brooklyn, so it's an advantage. If I'm in during the week and I want to go on a night ride, I'm only a 15-minute ride on my unicycle into the city. But out on Long Island, there's so much trail riding that really made a difference on the unicycle, because you just can't do it on a board. You just, even with AT tires, even with the torque, some of these trails are just, you can't get through them with a board.
So you're saying on Long Island, actually New York, Long Island, there's trails?
Oh, there's tons of trails. It's
kidding?
I just went from I'll show you again. I went from the north side, this would be the north, all the way across to the south side of Long Island with my daughter. She was running. I filmed her while she was running, and we did 33 miles.
My God, I don't know who
all trail.
Impressed with your daughter or with you?
Yeah, I'm more impressed with her. She ran it,
and
I just trailed her.
Marathon. That's a marathon.
She did.
To us ignorant Aussies, or I mean, they have myself have not talked about myself. You haven't been to New York yet. I think New York is a concrete jungle with a big, Central Park. I'll get there year after next, and we'll definitely hook up, and I'll get you on the channel, Paul. It'll be amazing, and the guys there. But we just think it's all concrete streets, Madison Avenue, whatever. But there's actually lovely trails. There's lovely back roads and stuff. And
we took a ride a few weeks ago. A unicycle crew, Onyx, the Onyx guys were out there. Yeah. We had scooters out there. The Dualtrons were out there. We went from Midtown Manhattan, and we went all the way up to the Bronx on the west side of the Bronx. It's beautiful up there. There was a park up there. I forgot the name of the park, but it was hilly, it was rocks, it was trees. I mean, you're in the middle of the city, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the woods on a trail overlooking the Hudson River. It was beautiful. Incredible. It was really incredible.
That is just mind-blowing. So, yeah, that just shows the diversity of the city and what it offers, I suppose. We just see Casey Neistat fly down streets, and we see, smooth concrete or, bad roads like anywhere, but we don't understand there's a lot of incredible trail riding there. That's amazing. Suki's asked a question. Could you describe the process of modifying your unicycle, and did someone else do the mods for you, or did you do your mods yourself? Have you done much mods on a Paul?
I try not to do any mods on anything electric unless I really know what I'm doing, which I don't. So I leave that up to the pros. Even though, I don't know if you heard on my YouTube channel, I put it 2 weeks ago, we went to a Jersey ride. So we went from we took a Jersey ride. We went to the shore. An unfortunate circumstance happened where one of the unicycles burnt up. You could see it on there.
I saw that on your channel. Yeah, burn up. Yeah.
So actually, the guy. Okay, so this is all from just knowledge of people telling me what happened. I believe the unicycle he was on was modified with extra batteries. Now. I'm not mentioning any names. I don't know who did it. Whatever the case is, they pack more batteries into it. They try to get more range or more power out of it. And I guess it's a third party. I don't think it's coming straight from the manufacturer like that. And it just it's an unfortunate circumstance. It just either overheated, shorted, or something. And within seconds, Andrew, this thing was in a blaze.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, the person that was riding it, the guy that we were riding with, he broke his leg. He had surgery yesterday. I messaged him. He goes by Tupac, really good guy. He's like us. He's an old guy like us. So shout out to the old guys. Unfortunately, this put him out of the game. He's going to do the right thing for his family and retire, which he did. And but success to his surgery, and I hope he's doing better and he comes back. But he was seconds away from being burnt bad.
So basically, the batteries caught fire, it then disengaged the whole ECU, and then he just threw him. Did it?
It actually didn't throw him. It was a very slow roll he was on, maybe 6 miles an hour. Yeah. And we actually turned around. We were looking for one other rider, which we couldn't find. So we were going to circle back. As soon as he circled back, he was going very slow, and it just started smoking. When he saw the smoke, he didn't know what it was. He heard a couple of pops, and he looked down, and he saw the smoke, and within seconds, he saw a flame, and he just, you panic at that point. He jumped off. He awkwardly landed on his leg, and he just broke his leg. So it's a freak accident.
That's true, Paul, because, we forget that on an electric skateboard, we're only sitting 4 inches off the ground, sometimes 3 inches on a drop down. Yeah. Your legs are prone. You're in a prone position like Usain Bolt. If you fall off, they don't wear helmets at the Olympics. They travel 33 kilometers an hour in a sprint on 100 meters. You're not going to dive on your head. Right. Mostly, it's a roll effect if you're going too fast. So if you're going over 40 k's an hour, helmets are a must. Under that, it's very hard to land on your head. But having said that, on a unicycle and on a bike, you're straddling something. So when you're straddling something with your legs, of course it's going to tip you and you're going to flip. So unicycles, even a one wheel, is super dangerous. I've ridden those. It's just going to trip you and you're going to flip on your head. So that's how it happens. And once you get caught with your ankle, you just go over the wrong way. And in this case, he broke his leg. It's terrible. Big shout out to Tupac. So sorry. That's not normally what happens in the industry. You take your own, guiding ideas of how much experience you have. You keep pushing those boundaries every single week until you get to a point where you really don't, you feel very confident, but you're only as good as your equipment is, aren't you, really, pretty much? Yeah.
And he was fully equipped. I mean, he was head to toe, helmet, shin guards, the elbow pads you saw. He even had a chest protector, full chest protector mode. He couldn't have any more equipment on.
There you go.
And it just happened. And a lot of the injuries on these unicycles are either from pushing it too much and cutting out, which happens. Yeah. So unlike your board, it will just keep rolling. This thing cuts out, and because it's a gyro and it's relying on that power. Once it turns off, it's just like a rock. It just falls, and you just So that's the importance of the gloves with those pads on it from Flatland and the elbow pads, because you're going to go forward like Superman and just slide. Now, if you fall the right way, you should just slide and roll out of it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, if you step off of it and with 1 foot, you're gonna be now doing a split, because 1 foot's on, 1 foot's off. That doesn't work.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's how people do a lot of damage to their quads and their back muscles, because it does slide you away on one leg. Over the years, we've learned how to fall properly, and that I could talk about that on one of my channels at one point on one of my videos about how to fall and tuck the shoulder in and roll like a parachute jump. I've fallen at about 30 k's an hour and never had a problem. No elbow pads, nothing. I just roll. But it does, if you're watching this and you're learning, make sure you pad up initially. You'll learn how to fall properly, and there's techniques you can see how to fall. But at the end of the day, I think the lesson out of this story is probably don't modify anything, because that was modified, correct, Paul?
Somebody's saying, are you suggesting that we do yoga? It couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt at all. The more limber you are. Listen, I still stretch. I stretch and I still run and work out. It's got to be doing something positive, because, I'm physically fit and I'm falling the right way, I guess. But yeah, sure. Do yoga.
It's true. I mean, like, definitely modification on batteries is an absolute no-no. Unless you're, like, I'm an electrical fitter mechanic, I know electrical current, I've wired my whole house. I don't even touch them too much because the BMS control, the BMS is the battery management system that does everything. The booster we just talked about offline then about the boosters have the most sophisticated BMS that literally knows, logs everything. When you turn it on, when you turn it off, how long you ride it, when you don't ride it. And say, Andrew Penman, what are you doing? You haven't charged it for 2 months. You kept it 100%. Bang, I'm going to give you 40% battery. It's that sophisticated. When you start putting extra batteries on, the new batteries don't talk to BMS, you got these issues where it goes, hey, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. You're supplying too much current.
It's
so
all about
that's something.
Right.
Exactly. And that is critical. The other thing I was going to say to you is, how long would it be before, Paul, you reckon you felt really comfortable on an ECU in terms of riding? And feeling, how long did it take? Like say in hours.
Right.
In hours.
So I don't know if I'm a freak of nature or I just catch on quick, but I bought my unicycle on a Friday. Yeah. On Saturday, I did 20 miles for the first time.
Hang on, so we're talking
a
day later.
I should go back. I have to find the footage. I think I took it on my cell phone. I just propped it up on my Joby tripod and I held onto my car and I said, all right, here I go for the first time. Just going to give it a go. Like I did with pretty much a bicycle, just let go and go. And I was in a parking lot. I'm not in the city. The beauty of living on Long Island is, especially with this quarantine that happened, it was February, so it was a little earlier than the quarantine. But on a Saturday morning, you can go out virtually any parking lot, and it's completely empty. So I had a lot of room, and I let go. I went in circles for about 15, 20 minutes, figured out the balance thing, figured out the stop start. By the end of the day, I did 20 miles on my first day. And
you are, a little disclaimer, you are a snowboarder, you are a bike rider, everything. You've done, some pretty, you're a skateboard rider for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever. So that's probably a little bit more of a quicker learning curve, Daredevil Paul, Southern UK. True. I mean, this is something that it's probably on the higher edge of someone learning pretty quickly, but I'll know too, because I'm going to give it a go next week. Big shout out to Alan, One More Wheels in Sydney. We'll put a link to his stuff too. He sells these things here. And I'll have a go and I'll let you know. You'll see how I go. But it sounds exciting.
It really is. And I'm trying to, with my, where is it? Here it is. I put another Instagram just for EUC, just for the electric unicycle, just because I think it's such a unique sport. And people out here, especially out here on the island, people look at me like I just landed from Mars. They don't know what I'm riding. The other day, Ice Cream Man. You guys have an Ice Cream Man in Australia?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
we do. So good humor, the guy, whatever. So he stopped. I wasn't stopping him for ice cream. He stopped for me and said, "What the hell are you riding?" And I had to explain what it was. I said, "Well, it's a unicycle." But it sounds funny when you say just it's an electric unicycle because people still don't get it. And being that it's a unicycle and for what it does, people just are intrigued by it. And I'm getting a lot of attention on the island. And I would love to teach the youth because I could definitely see the youth getting into this at a slower pace, but a rapid pace over time.
Exactly. And you know what? That's a good segue. No pun intended. Segue into the legality of these things, and I want to get your opinion on what's happening in New York with those. Are they being targeted more by the police than skateboards, or are you getting fined? What's the story there?
New York is inundated with problems, especially now. So we are getting away with anything and everywhere. I rode into a Target with my unicycle. A couple funny stories with the unicycle. You could go anywhere. They don't know what it is. So one, they stop you and ask you, do you need help because they think I'm handicapped? and two, because I have gray and I'm old, they probably think I'm a veteran of some type, which I did not serve. Probably my one regret. I should have served in the U.S. Army or Navy or whatever, but I did not, and I'm not a veteran. And they seem to be helping me out with this unicycle in some type of way, like a
And this
CB.
is the police. This is New York police, yeah?
You have Target, or it's a big supermarket. I rode into a supermarket.
Oh, no, Target. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. Target.
I was looking for toilet paper, Andrew, when the pandemic was going on, and I couldn't find any. So I rode around the aisles and I left, and nobody mentioned anything to me. In fact, one guy just said, "Oh no, we closed that aisle. You're gonna have to go around that way." So I turned the unicycle and I rode around. I think,
I tell you, I did something the same. About 3 years ago, I rode my skateboard late at night through our local mall here because they're open until midnight.
Nice.
Actually, it's on my channel. I have to scan down 2 years ago. I rode through into Woolworths, in the aisles, and it was hilarious. If you ever haven't done that, guys, it's super smooth. It's like smooth line everywhere, and you can go. All the pipe music was playing. I'm going through the supermarket in the mall. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, the cops eventually, the mall cop found me, and I outraced him and got him. Yeah. I went out the door. But yeah, but what about police? What about police in the street though? No problem.
No, nothing. Actually, when we went to Jersey, we stopped at one of the train stations while we were waiting for a couple other guys, and I have footage of that too. I should put that on. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
A couple of the Asbury Beach police were just crowding around us, 3 patrol cars, and they were just talking to us, and we're blown away. They didn't know what these things were. Once they started grasping the idea, I actually put out there and I said, you got to start a Asbury Park Police unicycle unit, because this is much better to get somebody on foot than riding a Segway, 2 wheels,
oh God, yeah,
or a scooter or something like that. I think it's going to be used in security and other places like that where mobility is an issue, and you can get around a lot easier with these things.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think in Australia we're having a few problems. A few of the guys are getting fined, big fines, $2,000 Australian on these unicycles. Yeah, and my theory is because they, as you rightly said, Paul, it's a gyro, and it can't be ridden manually. The cops when we have the highway patrol here, they're different. They're still police, but they're in a big car and they check the highway. The other guys will pull you over. And at the end of the day, like you said, with an older guy like us, well, they look at us and I just say my knees are bad or whatever, and I need this to get around, and they just let you go. It's a hall pass, whatever. You get out of it. A young guy may not have that same luck. So when you get older, guys, there's a lot of benefits to being an older skater.
A little bit more benefit. I was in a park, like I told you earlier, I was following my daughter as she was running through the parks and the trails, and I was going slow. I got to admit, I wasn't wearing my helmet. I was wearing my hat or my gloves, maybe. That was really it. And I mainly had my camera on me, just filming. She's jogging at a slow pace, so it's no big deal. If I fell, I wouldn't have fell and hurt myself. But the fact that I was looking like this instead of a full face helmet and gloves and everything on, the park superintendent said, "I can't ride that." I said, "Oh, you can't ride that." So I said, Owen. So I said, well, I have a bad ankle. That was all I had to say. She let me go. Okay, not a problem. She must have thought I was, hurt or something. And I was going very slow. That's the other thing with the unicycle. You don't have to go 20, 30 miles an hour. I was literally doing maybe 2 miles an hour, just standing up, just doing a very small, slow crawl. And I just got away with it. So they don't know what.
That's a good point too. Like when you're fully faced helmet, fully stuff on, you do attract more that attention. I ride always with locally, if I'm not on the road, my baseball cap back with the heavy Kevlar one. I wear bare feet in summer. So when a cop sees me, it looks like I'm riding a skateboard, even if it's a big all-terrain. So you get away with that a lot. You don't attract attention to yourself. But also, I think the reason the cops are picking at us is because we can always say we're kicking the board. I was kicking my board, it wasn't on. And that can stand up in court. I've got I've got accounting, I'm an accountant, CPA, but also a law background in there too. You could argue that you weren't riding it, you were kicking it, and they can't verify that. But with you can't get in court and say, no, it wasn't on because, hey, you were riding it, and it has to be upright and working. So that's, I think, they're easy pickings here for us. The guys are getting better. We've got Canberra's legalised ours now, finally legalised electric skateboards in Canberra, which is a small state. It's going to go worldwide now with all this
I think
pandemic and getting around, it'll definitely speed the process of legalizing these, because people are going to look at alternative ways of getting to work, and transport is the big one. Yeah.
Well, with the pandemic here in New York, I mean, the electric unicycle, the skateboard, anything electric, the bike, the scooter has been detriment to getting around. You need to really, no one's taking the subway during the pandemic. Nobody was taking a risk. I think a lot of people will bicycle. I see a lot of people taking bikes, and an electric skateboard is probably one of the most useful tools to get around transportation wise in New York City.
Owen Wise has come on and said ECUs are grey zone here are mostly legal. Is that in New York? Looks like a New York cab. So what's a grey zone?
All right. So Owen's one of our younger. Hi, Owen. Owen's an up and coming natural. Also, he has a Cali board, Cali NYC.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, he's got that. I'm giving you a shout out, Owen. Okay, you happy?
Owen, great to meet you. G'day, Owen from Australia. Also, I'll get out there some stage. I'll ride with you guys. Yeah.
Even though he was quarantined out of the city for about 3 months, I didn't see him. He's finally back. He's riding. He has also a unicycle, so he rides. But like he's saying, it's such a gray area in New York City. They don't know how to really.
As in a grey area, not a grey area to ride. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Owen, that's cool. I understand now. Yeah. It's very grey everywhere. In fact, you can argue, and being an older guy, Owen, you won't get that pass as easy as Paul and I. When you're an old guy, they kind of go, yeah, look, they're responsible. They'll let them go. You pull me over. Oh, there you go. He has people that have not succeeded. That's awesome.
He flips the bird and runs away. That's Owen.
Well, that's good. It's the starting the movement. That's what we want. We want to see more movement there like that.
NPS, right?
Now tell me, so what would you, if you were going out for a ride now, right? And Owen, by the way, said your dinner's ready, had to go, but I thought it was, he said he's your son and dinner's ready, but he's just making fun. Love your work, Owen. Okay, so if you're going out for a ride now and you had to pick two things, electric skateboard or your unicycle, what would it be right now?
The unicycle.
Yes. Really?
The unicycle. I haven't, like I said, I haven't rode the boards. I think I went twice. I used the GTR since February.
Wow.
It's just and I don't get me wrong. I love riding and I also ride with my dog rides on my GTR, my puppy. It's a blast. It's just that I don't know if I'm gonna stay in the street or I want to go off-roading or go on a sidewalk or wherever. And the unicycle is just that much more versatile. And I don't even second think. I just pick up the unicycle and I go.
Oh, okay. Next question. What about you go to the city, the COVID's over, everyone's shopping, there's Macy's, people are really going to pick up something from the Apple store and walk around. Is it hard to carry that thing? How much does it weigh? Is it a problem moving that around by hand on the train and the underground and all that?
Okay, so let me grab it one more time because I just want to show you. They are heavy. This one weighs about 30 pounds and it's fairly light compared to
Google convert 30 pounds into kilograms.
There you go. Let's see how heavy
that is. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's pretty heavy. Yeah. But then again, it's got a handle, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put the light on again and show you.
Does it have walk mode, that one? Like you can walk it?
Okay, so with the unicycle, when it's on, Andrew.
Oh wow.
Okay, when it's on, it's pretty much
oh yeah.
Yeah, it pretty much doesn't fall over, if you could see. Once you turn it off, it's just dead weight.
Oh, right. So if you were gonna walk it around a shopping center, you walk it on the ground with it on, correct?
So instead of now, I'm only 5'5". I'm short, so I could kind of get away with doing this and.
Yeah.
But the Gotway has a handle.
Right.
So
brilliant.
Now, even better, people think you have luggage.
I was going to say, it looks like you're checking into an airport, except there's no one flying right now, so you're not flying anywhere. That is brilliant. So, okay, you don't lift these things. So, a skateboard, you got to carry. You got to literally lift it up and carry it, or drag it. Yeah.
Yeah. This thing here, you just tuck it away. You pull it right out.
It's a small fingerprint. That's really tiny. That's really brilliant.
Yeah, and heavy. I mean,
Have you carried groceries back in two hands and that sort of stuff and bags?
What's that?
Like if you go shopping, can you carry groceries in hands, or is that stuff to balance up? Can you hold a couple of bags with it, or?
Oh yeah, I can carry. I mean, you can carry anything.
Wow.
Like I say, I have a backpack on. I also carry my camera equipment, my phone. You know, I'm not on my phone while I ride. I am guilty every now and then. I'll just, you know, cruise nice and slow and look down, but I'm not doing 30 miles an hour on my phone. But you can carry, you know, a significant amount of weight in both hands while riding. I've done it, sure.
Like swinging bags, all that doesn't affect the gyro. It's all good like that.
Not at all. Yeah, it's just a matter of your balance. I mean, if you could do it and hold the bag, it's probably not preferred to carry too much because you kind of need your arms for balance in some cases.
Yeah.
But you know, you can get away with just riding down the street or whatever back to the store. I usually take my stuff in a backpack when I ride, just because I like hands-free. So
that's incredible, Paul.
Yeah.
And what's the next purchase for Paul Stallone?
All right. Well, here's the deal. I got, it's not mine officially, but it will be.
He's got to get clearance from the boss. I think the wife's out of the room. He can say what he wants now.
I gotta admit, I have a great wife. We just celebrated our 29th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. You do need a good supportive partner, because these things often you'll tear off at night on a moment's notice for a group ride and you're gone for 3 hours. But like I said, it's better than golf. It's better than being gone all day, you know.
I golfed. I played tennis. I played handball.
Oh.
This is now my favorite thing to do.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
So this is the Nikola. This is the 100-volt Nikola. And I'm going to be
100 volts.
I'm going to be purchasing this shortly. This actually came from the gentleman that took the bad fall in New Jersey and burnt up his Monster.
Oh my gosh!
He had a couple of these different unicycles, and I told him I'm going to get this one from him. So this is brilliant. This is my next.
Also, Tupac. If you're watching Tupac, you never know. Never say never. You know, that was a freak accident. You know, you may find you'll be back on in about 8 months and thinking, it's just a very, you know, stressful time now after an accident, thinking about your future, especially with your medical and health stuff in America. It's crazy over there. You know, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But, you know, never say never to back you're watching. But you want to buy that first. Buy that first, secure the deal.
Yeah.
No, that's, that's amazing unicycle. Now, how's it different to your other unicycle? What's the difference in functionality?
Of the two I just held up?
Yeah.
Basically just the style. They both do, you know, over 33 or 35 miles an hour. The MSX smaller one, that's the fastest one on the market. I think we rode to that beach ride we had, I told you a couple months ago, about a month ago. One of the guys, David, he did 49 miles an hour. He clocked himself at 49. Yeah, that was the fastest pretty much. And he didn't cut out. Usually you ride that fast on any other unicycle, you're going to cut out. But he rode through it.
That is insane. I've gone 54 kilometers an hour, nearly 55 on an electric skateboard, on the Raptor. I've done a few things on the channel, and 47 on one of these Chinese boards. But you know, if it's safe and it's a good made piece of equipment, you don't feel scared. Do you feel scared at all on a unicycle going that speed or not?
The fastest I've gone was 38 miles an hour. That's about all I want to go. I don't want to push it.
That is unbelievable.
I might try to push it to 40 just to say, okay, I hit 40, but 38 miles an hour feels like you're going 50. It's fast.
That's crazy.
And you're only doing it for and you're only doing it for an extended period of time because you have to eventually stop or turn or redirect something. So you're not really traveling at that speed. It's not like you're going far distance. You're always making turns and carving and whatever. So
it's crazy. Like it's a whole Freud thing, Paul. Everyone talks about when I ask my channel, what should I get? What's the speed? How fast? Well, that's now dying off now because people are realizing speed's not important. Everyone, personally, I ride around 35 to 40 max, and I carve. I want more carve. I want more battery now. I don't want all that, you know, heaps of speed stuff anymore. So you find that, speed's not that important. If you want maneuverability, 38 on an easy will be scary. Scott Davies says, yeah, well, you're the go one, Scott. We'll be getting you on one and you'll be riding on your channel too. But it's true. Speed's not that important. But anything around 40Ks, good enough, good enough. It's the carving, it's the range, it's the turning around the city. And that's what you really want. And these unicycles turn on a dime, as you said. They just turn.
I mean, listen, it is thrilling, and I do get that rush of speed, and it feels good. It's just that I don't do it all the time. I mean, if I'm going down Broadway on a ride, and you're fortunate to catch all the lights,
yeah, exactly,
it's fun. But you don't, and you have to slow down, and you have to anticipate slowing down. So me, for one, I'm always kind of cautious. I'm an older guy. I have a family. I have a job. I don't want to be knocked up and sent to the hospital. So I'm riding definitely. Yeah. And I don't believe for one time since February that I've been riding without a camera in my hand. I'm just constantly filming. I'm trying to catch something or just make a good segment into, electric unicycles from New York City. So I'm kind of always cautious that if I do fall, I'm losing a $400 GoPro or my Insta3.
Oh God, yeah,
something.
Absolutely. Well, Scott Davis has said he's had a go. Sorry, apologise, Scott. At 20 kilometres an hour felt like 45 on an Eastgate. So he's saying it feels a lot faster on these things. And Shane Muddle, another Sydney rider, he's a downhill skateboard rider. So he thinks that speeds is important. I know Shane's a speed demon. But yeah, you're right. So you must feel faster on these things because you're propped up there and you're, really.
Yeah.
high.
And the fact that when you're on a longboard and you have that sideways stance, either you're riding regular or goofy, you kind of feel like you're balanced that way. On the unicycle, when your feet are together like that, like skis, and the only thing that you could think of at that speed, as if this gyro just decides to stop.
Yeah.
I'm going down and flying forward. So you kind of tend not to think about falling and just enjoy it. And if you fall, you fall. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't fallen yet. I've fallen in the sense where I've seen it coming at a slow speed and I just kind of bailed off it and let it go. But nothing really like a 30-mile-an-hour crash yet.
Wow.
I'm not anticipating it.
Well, you'll get your summer there now in New York, and then, as you said, you've got a lot of distractions at the moment with the riots and all the. My heart goes out to the George Floyd, what happened, and the family. It was horrific. We can't believe, there's always a bad apple everywhere, and it's just a sad thing. But it's just you guys going through a lot of turmoil there at the moment. Our hearts are thinking of you guys in the States with the pandemic and this possible, hopefully not a second wave now with all these these rallies, but you got a lot of distractions, so you can ride, get out there, and you got to keep yourself motivated and happy.
Tom is now an ambassador for Evolve, and we just did a group ride for Black Lives Matter. I had a late night at work, so I couldn't make it, couldn't attend to it, but it looked like they had about 30-40 riders attend, and they rode down Broadway, and that was a good thing. Everybody came out, supported everybody. It was peaceful. Obviously, it's all peaceful. We're trying to stay positive and try to back Black Lives Matter, and it makes a big difference when everybody can get together and support. So it's just a terrible thing at a bad time. I mean, just coming out of the pandemic.
That's right. I mean, things happen for a reason in life, and things always happen for a reason. Look back history and think, well, that was a poignant part of our world, and things will always be better and change through things like this. It's just a shame it cost a man his life. It was just terrific to watch that. We've got rights here, rights in the UK, in Germany, a lot of subscribers all around the world. They're all saying that everywhere it's now an awakening about how to, this has to stop. And, but, it's for you guys, just hang in there. New York will come back. I'll get over there at some stage and I'll have a ride with you guys. It'd be amazing. And
gotta go. I think towards the end of the year, they have what they call as NYEF. It's just an electric festival. We had it last year in August. Yeah, look that up. I don't know where we're scheduling, or if it's postponed even. I think we're having it late this year, maybe late September or something like that, when the weather's really nice. But that was a huge turnout, and that was at least 150 people on a group ride
Really?
is from Brooklyn to Manhattan and then all about. So that's a really cool event, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of sponsors. We had Evolve there. We had Boosted there. We had Shred Lights. We had the Flatlands guys there. Nick, Steve, they were out there, and it was a good time. Yeah, we should definitely come out.
And how often do you guys have it? Is there one group that rides? Was it little mini groups that splinter off, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, I'm part of a smaller group with guys that we met from a larger group, so we kind of tend to just keep the chat smaller. You know, if we're around, and you know, we hit each other up on the chat and say, you know, anybody want to ride, or you know, anybody doing anything Sunday afternoon. But there is a main NYC e-boarding community, Facebook and all that. So everybody kind of gets together. And Tom and Mario are pretty much are the big guys that really put together the group rides now. And if they say we're going to ride, 50 people show up at a time and enjoy the night. So yeah,
I love the fact, Paul. I love you said e-board, because I've got to say, I think I can take credit. Like 6 years ago, I was thinking of naming my channel. I thought everyone's e-skate. I thought, well, it's not skating. It's not like, it's a board. It's an e-board. And I put a little e and a big B, and I thought e-board. Now I changed big E, big B, and I reckon I can stand there and say I was the one that named e-board.
Nice.
I did that like 6.5 years ago, and no one used it. Everyone's saying e-skate, e-skate.
Yeah.
And finally now I know Tom's using e-board. You're using e-board, and it's really a more nicer description of what it is, electric board. So I love the fact that e-board's catching on more now.
It kind of makes sense because we're coming off of long boards, so e-board, it just fits.
And e-board looks. I know e-skate looks great with the 8 in there and all that, but I went against that. When I did my channel 7 years ago, got off, and then I cancelled, put a new channel on 4.5, 5 years ago. It started with Chinese boards. I called it e-board from there. So it's lovely to see e-boards catching on. I love that. I think it's just a great name. But look, you're going to we're up around an hour now. I'm not sure how long I'm supposed to talk for. I could talk, and you could talk for hours.
I'm good. I don't have a curfew.
But if you got anything else you want to talk, tell us any stories, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up, or do you want to save us something else? What about your latest? What's the most scariest moment? The scariest moment you've been on a board or an ECU?
Scariest moment.
No one's trying to steal it off you, or no?
No. I mean, everything's pretty secure. Nobody's really, you know. Scariest would probably be, you know, going into the subway with one, but no, I really haven't.
They're worth $2,000. They're not cheap, you know.
Once people start figuring out that they are that much, and there's a market for it, I'm sure you don't watch it. Someone's going to steal it from you, but you really got to keep your eye on it. Good luck to the guy that's going to steal a unicycle and try to ride away with it, though. It's not gonna get for it.
It's like the dude that tried to steal my bag at what was it? In a Turkish guy in Rotterdam station got my bag and dragged it on the platform. And I saw him, and I thought, if you're going to steal a bag, make sure it's not 35 kilos, got a folding skateboard in there, and no wheels, and the old school bag, and you weigh 60 kilos. You couldn't get it off the train.
Not a smart guy.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy. You got to learn to ride one. It'd be a skilled ECU rider to steal it. Yeah. They're going to have their own one anyway, so no one's going to do that. Yeah. Wow. And what's the future, you reckon, for what's happening in New York? It's obviously these groups will keep going. More ECUs coming on board now, more and more.
Definitely, I'm seeing a huge turnover of guys, and all the guys that are on EUCs, they definitely came from a board. It's not like their first time and they just jumped on an EUC and started riding. Mainly the guys that we ride with in the EUC community and they still do. And they came from riding longboards, electric. Yeah. So they're doing both. You know, I'm not the only one. That's, you know, by far everybody that's riding a unicycle has a board probably at home or sold it to get another unicycle at one point. But there are definitely a lot of guys out there that are doing both.
Okay, another good question quickly. We've seen electric skateboarding go from, I've been doing this 7 years now, 7 years from rudimentary cool wheels, Onans, of course, the early Evolves. and early boosters, not till the TED Talk with Sajjoy and 2012, the TED Talk with Booster. But we've seen that from 2007 go like that exponentially, how much the curve's gone up with technology, and that as unicycles also experiencing the same kind of technology change, or have they gone through phases of getting better and better?
I haven't been around it that long to really give you a positive feedback on that, but from what I've seen, just following the recent technology that they're coming out with, you mentioned suspension earlier. The batteries are definitely getting better and bigger, so you're getting more range. The Gotway MS Pro just came out, and it's got a lot more torque than the original.
Wow.
Not a lot of speed, and a lot of guys really judge their buying factor on speed and range.
And also you got the music built in. You got the lights. Yeah. The lights are like car headlights, aren't they? Yeah. They're unbelievable.
Yeah. The one I showed you has all those lights running, in circles. So at night, it attracts, especially out here where I live, it attracts a lot of attention. And then it also, it has music. I put an app through it where it plays like a car engine. I should play that for you. I'm gonna get that on because I just did it last night.
I want to see that.
I just did that last night, and I thought it was a blast. And I said, I have to show somebody this. Check this out.
This is like so much technology now coming out in these. There's so much battery there. So you got the perfect lights. You got all the sound systems, speakers. You can accommodate so much real estate on those things that you can't go aboard. So Paul's going to demonstrate now the car.
I'm going to check this out. Let me get this on. So you turn it on. It's got Bluetooth, so everything syncs up to it. You got the app, right?
Oh, I love it. Paul's got a very patient wife here listening to all this in the back.
She's good. She's watching her show. So you turn it on.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. And that's a free app, yeah?
Yeah, it's a free app. Now, here you go. You ready?
Okay. Check the dog. The dog doesn't care at all. The dog's seen it before.
So that's pretty much coming out of the speaker in the wheel.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, my gosh.
And then on top of that, you play music and all that, so it's pretty cool.
Well, when the cop pulls you over next time, you got to say, Paul, okay, I admit I was writing an illegal thing, but I could have done this. I chose not to put the motor on.
That's so far so good. We're getting a lot of positive feedback actually from the cops. You think that they would be kind of upset with us riding in the street and everything, but they're kind of cool. They really are. I can't say anything bad that we've come across any. Pretty much just like if you're on like inside a park, you got to be cautious because there's obviously people walking around. There's children, so you don't want to hurt anybody. But respect. That's all it is. Same thing with e-boarding. You got to respect where you ride.
You're right. You do. And I think the only thing that, being the guys that, no disrespect to the skater dudes, the Rodney Muller flicks, jump banisters on railing and hack and ruin public property, those guys are more a pest than we are. We ride on big rubber tires, make no marks, don't ruin concrete. We're just transporting most of the time to commute. We're older guys. I think it's shifting across now. The cops are not looking at that as a problem. They're looking more at the skating, the guys, the dudes, and also looking more at, other stuff. So I think we'll be fine. I think the shift that will happen now, this pandemic has definitely moved every country to look at electric vehicles, electric mobility, less public transport, and that's going to push our agenda to the forefront everywhere. And I can see it now being, without a doubt, being electric skateboards and unicycles being legalized in most countries in the world in the next 5 years. I can see that without a doubt. It's just going to go that way.
For the best. I mean, think about what you're doing also. You're riding green. You're saving the air pollution. Crowds inside the public subways and buses. You're getting away from all that. You're definitely going to be less exposed to germs and all that stuff in the future if you keep everything outside.
Last question. Okay, do you enjoy going out on your own for a ride, or do you prefer riding in groups? I like going on a solo ride with headphones on late at night. I've got a dam here. I go late at night at midnight with the headlights on and just listen to music. I'm surfing, late afternoon surf.
Yeah.
I prefer both. I do like both, but I prefer sometimes to go on my own. Is that the same with you? Because you're upstate New York, right? Upstate.
No, I'm at the lower part of New York State.
Oh,
but then I kind of, like I said, I stick out. I'm an island. So when you look at this, where am I? Am I upside down?
Yeah,
when you look at this right here where I am, this is all water. I'm surrounded by water.
Got it. Okay,
there's nothing else around me right here. This is Long Island. That's why they call it an island. I'm literally, there's water around me. And I'm out in the country. It's like being upstate, but I'm out in the country, out on the east end of Long Island. So I do really enjoy going out by myself. Like you said, you put the headphones on, the music or whatever, and you just go out. And any chance I get to go to a store or get coffee on a Sunday morning,
you take it out. Yeah,
I'm an early bird. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work every day. So anytime I can get up,
I don't do anything before 11 a.m. This had to set my alarm this morning to get up.
The day's half over at 11 a.m.
When you retire, it's a long day watching Judge Judy and Ellen. I tell you, you got to have it can be boring, but that's why I started my YouTube channel. And you started your YouTube channel, which is so exciting. So what did you do that for? And I've seen some great videos on there. Congratulations. We'll definitely do a shout out for you.
Thank you. So I basically just wanted to start putting more content on there. I started getting, with the unicycle, I started getting more gear. I got a wireless headphone set. You know, everybody knows the Rode headphone set. I wanted to get something different just to try it out and not spend $200. So I got that. There you go.
Right. Australian made and designed.
Right. So I got a bunch of gear. The guys from Flatlands, actually, I'm gonna say that they're sending me more gear because
brilliant.
Nick is a really cool guy, and they asked for. We did a couple of things for them when they were out here, so he's gonna repay me and send me a couple things that are coming out. And those guys are fantastic. Everybody we meet in the Eastgate community has come from some type of background where they started just like me and you. Push kicking as a kid, and then the fruition of this being more, and then just growing up with it, it blossomed, and now they're Tread Lights is a couple of guys from college. These guys from Flatlands. You got Skate Castle is an engineer. He just wanted to make something, and then everything kind of revolved around skateboarding that turned into a company. I know. So they're good for them. Good for those guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Flatland Gloves. That's amazing. That's an amazing company. I'm so humble with my channel. I started off doing this just because I was bored. I retired, and yet I've encouraged and inspired so many people to start their channels, and so many people to get into electric skateboarding. I've got 50 emails like a year saying, my husband didn't do anything. He's watched your channel. He's now doing this. He's riding. My boyfriend's never done anything. And it's just changed people's lives. So for me, the benefit of my channel is to really encourage people to give it a go, get affordable boards, the right boards. And you know what? That's what I love about it, just creating, and it's just inspiring people to do this stuff. And that's what you'll do with these. And your hacks, modifications on the ECUs, your channel is quite rare. There's not many ECU channels. So it'll be phenomenal for you. And Eastgate,
Yeah, we got a couple guys out here. Mickey's making
to Sean and
so they're doing good. I just wanted to get more into, I'm an older guy. I don't see a lot of older guys riding unicycles and doing what I do, and I just feel that it's bringing out the child of me in me, and I'm enjoying my life right now. I have 3 older kids that are all grown up and doing their own thing, and I'm finally having the time to enjoy what I do. I could be out golfing. I could be out fishing. To me, I'm an action sports kind of guy, so it definitely gives.
Well, actually, check out a guy called David Sawyer in our group in Sydney. He's my age, 59. He's like that. He's a unicycle rider. He is unbelievable proficient. He's been doing it for like 8 years, and he again is pushing that. And that's what when they saw me, people say, you're an older guy, he's riding an electric skateboard, I can do that too. they don't realize that, you know, I've been doing it since I was 11. Like, I'm a
Right.
A-grade golfer. You do something all your life, you become so proficient at it. But that it does help being an older guy like you and I to get people in. They come into it and they go, oh, he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are encouraging the older guys, and it changes your life. It is the most amazing. You're watching, you're thinking electric skate, but look at Paul, look at me. We are just enjoying it and changing everything.
It is a good point because, you know, a lot of people think, you know, I was getting, when I first got the electric skateboard, I was getting like, oh, what are you going through, a midlife crisis?
I know.
I said, how can it be a midlife crisis if I was doing it all my life?
I know, that's right.
It doesn't make sense. It's not something I just started doing. So I laugh at that because, you know, like golf, like fishing, like bowling, like anything that you play as a kid or growing up, if you're enjoying it, I just say, why stop? Don't stop doing it. There's no reason to stop as long as you're not risking yourself too much. You know, you have to be cautious with everything. You could ride a bicycle and crash into a tree. It doesn't matter what you do. You just have to be smart about it and trust yourself.
Well, you and I are going to be ambassadors for this on the e-skate or to skateboarding and unicycle for you and myself, because you're 53, I'm 59. I'll be hopefully doing this at 75. And I want people to see me say, God, Andrew Penman's still riding and Paul's still riding at 75 and 70 or whatever. And, you know, as long as you're careful and you look after your diet and your body is good and you pad up, if you don't have falls, you can do this effectively to the late 70s, I would think. Because skateboarding has only come in the 60s, okay? The guys at Malibu rode their first board. So what you're finding is we're going to be the first older guys with grey hair riding skateboards in the history of this world. Think about that. So we've seen bike riders with grey hair from the 1900s. We've seen tobogganists. We've seen skiers. We've seen all that. But we're the first dudes to come along who'll be grey and old and look like old geriatrics at 75 riding a skateboard.
I like that, Andrew.
And I'm going to be one of the great ambassadors. But I'm older than everybody nearly. I don't think there's even been people older than me at nearly 60 doing this seriously hardcore. So, look, we're going to do it. So, Paul, I can't thank you enough for today's, you know, talk. The future for you. So what's it going to be now? The next few years, you're going to keep just doing what you're doing?
Just going to keep riding, enjoying, and learning. You know, you never stop learning on these things. Technology comes out, changes the way you ride or the style. I definitely want to go on more trail rides. I don't think I touched on that enough with the unicycle. The MSX, the small one, is phenomenal. If you want to, and I'm going to put some footage in my YouTube on just trail riding alone, just to show you.
Do that. That'd be amazing, because these things are amazing off-road. I've seen the guys in Sydney go to the Blue Mountains, they go off-road. So these do perform really well on really rough road, like off-road. Wow. Yeah. That'd be amazing.
I have a lot of footage from that ride I did with my daughter, and I'm gonna cut some footage up there and put some on there, because you really can't get the perspective of what this thing does in a trail until you feel it. I mean, I was going up a hill, an incline, with no problem at all, doing maybe 5 miles an hour, just crawling up the hill, like I was on a dune buggy, just flying up the hill. It was incredible.
Or just a tank going over everything. Yeah,
it's incredible. It's definitely changed my life. I'm not going to say I'm done with e-skate, you know, e-boarding and riding, because I do enjoy that feel. And when I travel and take the car, you know, the other day I threw my Boosted, my Evolve, and my Gotway MSX all in my drone and I took everything, I threw it in my car, and I just went and I just like selected 2 of them and rode it, and I just enjoyed the day, and it doesn't get any better. Yeah, it's just
there you go. Look, Paul, thank you so much for today, everyone. If you're thinking of getting a unicycle or a uni, as they call them now, Paul's just a great ambassador, just getting on it, giving it a go. 4 years ago? There you go. Oh my God.
So that's kind of my little logo there, and that's my Instagram channel.
Electric.
And and my YouTube.
Check out Paul's Instagram. Check out his Facebook. Check out his YouTube channel. And thank you. And quite a privilege. Thanks, Suki and
thank you, Suki.
And Jack, for letting me and Minty come on today and guest interview. It's my first time, so I really appreciate that. And It's a privilege to interview Paul. Phenomenal.
Thank you, guys. So, Andrew, when you get to New York, look us up. We'll do a big group ride for you guys, and we'll enjoy the night.
Amazing.
overlooking Manhattan. You'll see the Statue of Liberty, all the buildings.
Oh,
It's quite a sight. You definitely have to get up here and witness that.
I'm saving the best to last. Never been to New York. I'll get there when I'm 60. I'll meet all the guys. It'll be amazing. We'll do a phenomenal vlog. We'll do a big collab then.
We'll pop the cork.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for today's incredible live feed with Paul Stallone from New York City, ECU Skater.
Get your gear.
Brought to you by Flatlands.
There you go. Get your gear. Make sure you guys gear up.
Yeah.
No accident.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Well, stay safe. Stay well. We'll see you on the flip side.
You got it. Be good. Take care, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks so much.